welcome to another edition of Monday Motivation with Bukola. It's a show about inspiration, women empowerment, beauty, business, money, culture, and entertainment. And today we have a great guest in the house. She is Cheranissa Roach, and she's going to be telling us, she's a coach, she's going to be telling us a lot of things and giving us a lot of value. She's also a best-selling author. She has authored more than one book. We're going to be learning about all of those from her today. But before we go to our guest, the quote I have for you today is from Brainy Quotes, and it says, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." So have you had anything and you thought, oh, you worked so hard on it, and then you gave up, and perhaps some months later or some years later you thought, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? Why did I give up? I should have just continued to do it and do it. And our guest today is also a Christian, so she's going to be talking some churchy stuff with us probably today. We'll see how that goes. And the example I want to use is from my Bishop David Oyedepo. You know, when he started as a preacher, oh my goodness, if you see some of the pictures of him then, wow, you don't even want to look at him. His picture and his wife. And one testimony he shared that always touched me is the fact that one time the people who were around him, like following him, he decided to buy a motorcycle for them to be able to move around. And one of them said, how will him be using a motorcycle? So meaning that it's too big to use motorcycle. You know, meanwhile, this person doesn't even have a car, he doesn't have anything, and he got a motorcycle and he said he doesn't want a motorcycle. But guess what? Fast forward, how many years after? The same bishop and those who took the motorcycle then, they are flying on private jets with him today. So do not give up. Even during that time when it looks like it's not nice, it's not promising, be hopeful and try just one more time. Just one more time. And Thomas Edison, this is his quote. And I'm not surprised because, of course, now today we are using electricity. Today I'm able to interview somebody, you know, across how many, I don't know how many miles now, that she's in a different state. Because Thomas Edison made electricity to be possible. Because without electricity, we can't even plug in our computers, we can't have internet and all of that. And he tried 10,000 times before he actually made it to work. Can you imagine? 10,000. That is a man with a lot of persistence. So do not give up, because that one more trial might be the key. That one more trial might be your answer. So our greatest weakness lies in giving up. That's the greatest weakness of human being. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. So I encourage you today that you try just one more time. And this quote is from Brainy Quotes. So now we're going to go to our guest. Sure, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you joining us on this show today, Monday Motivation with Bukola. And please, I know that you are the executive officer of C.D.R. Consulting LLC, and you conduct seminars and workshops. So please tell us in brief who Cha is.
Thank you for having me, Bukola. Thank you so much for having me, and hello to your beautiful, wonderful guests. I am a coach, a life coach. Actually, I'm a certified Christian life coach. I am also a published author of 3 books and a speaker. Who I am is I'm a mom who helps other mothers pursue their dreams while raising their children without sacrificing either. That's who I am. I have 2 children, and I have a lot of dreams that I want to make come true, and I've got to work. And I have learned how to balance motherhood with business and with work so that I can get things done. And that's really at the core of who I am, is seeing mothers successful in both motherhood and their vocation, whatever that might be.
So how do you juggle motherhood with business?
Well, I don't know that I juggle it, because when you juggle it, something's always got to be up and it never stops. And I don't want to do that. But what I do is prioritize. And I tell a lot of my clients, that's how you can find balance. You cannot do 100 things in a day, but you can do the top 10 things that you have to do from that in a day. And so what's the most important thing to do, both business and professionally and for your family? And you can strive to make sure you can do that. And if it isn't the top 6 that day, Bukola, is it the top 3? What is it that you can do? Because anything other than that, and you're going crazy, you're thinking you're a horrible person and a horrible mother and a horrible businesswoman, a horrible employee. So you have to be able to prioritize, which helps bring you some balance. And it helps you stay grounded enough that you're not acting real crazy all the time, and that you can actually do stuff and have some joy while you do it.
So you just talked about prioritizing.
Yes.
So for someone who is a business person or an entrepreneur, or someone trying to go into entrepreneurship, what tips can you give to that person to help that person prioritize the day?
Well, what you need to do is, what I tell people all the time is, make sure you stay in your lane, kind of prioritizing what has to be done and even what you can do in that list. I have an accountant who helps me with things. When I get ready to do a new business venture, I call my accountant. I say, hey, I need some time so we can figure this out. She then is in the equation. I have a virtual assistant. And so there are things that I don't do. I have newsletters that get published every week, but I write them and she makes sure they get sent out. I have somebody that helps me with social media. So I can't do everything. So learning to surround yourself with people who can support what you need to do. And when you're a business, there are things that have to be done. If you have an invoice that needs to be submitted by the 10th and it's the 9th, that's what you have to do. So looking at what has to be done so that I can launch this business or continue to run this business, and then making that the priority. And if you can't do it, who can do it for you? Can you hire out? Can you get somebody in-house to do it? Or is it that you need to make sure that's done and you hire somebody or work with a team to do the rest? Because I feel like we can go, I think there's an African proverb, if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yes, thank you so much. And I like how you said stay in your lane, get people to do stuff for you. And in your own example, you have an accountant, you have a virtual assistant. So how can somebody get a virtual assistant or hire a virtual assistant to help them with certain things in their job?
There are a lot of ways that you can do it. When you're starting out as an entrepreneur, I always tell people you have more time than money. So when it comes to doing some of those things, you may look at Upwork, or you might look at Fiverr. And there are some people that are rated pretty high on there, and you give them maybe a small task for $5 or $10 because you probably have that much money. And after they do that task, you see if you work well with them, if they work well with you, and because of their rating or because of their recommendation, you go back with them. Another thing is, who's a retired secretary that just wants to earn a little bit of extra cash typing up some correspondence for you? Who's a student? Do you have a high school student who can help you do certain things? They're a marketing major, and so this is stuff they want to do. Is their college project that they need someone, a company to work with to do some of their things? Give it to them. So these are low cost ways that you can find people. Another thing is recommendations. I'm in a number of Facebook groups that are projected, that are towards or centered on women in business and in business in general, and putting something in there to say, hey, I need help finding a virtual assistant. They will give you all kinds of information. It's been tested, it's been tried, and you can go with that.
Wow, your background, you also help, corporations, non-profit organizations, and faith-based organizations. So what do you do to help these various organizations, from corporate to non-profit?
It depends on what I'm contacted to do. Yesterday, I had a workshop on next level confidence. And so it was a community organization for women in business and in leadership. And it was to help them develop confidence to take them to the next level. Everybody, Bukola, needs a little bit extra confidence when they're creating or moving to to another level. And so sometimes it's called in to help entry-level leaders transition into from employee to manager. Sometimes it's a nonprofit that maybe is having an employee engagement and wants to keep their people happy. And so I may come in and talk about teamwork. It could be at a Christian conference where there's a women's conference. One of the books I authored is A Virtuous Wife. And so it could be talking about being a virtuous woman in today's time. So it really depends on the need, but always about helping the person, the individual, develop into the best person they can be. That's what I am, and that's what I do.
Thank you. We're going to take a break now. I want you to talk more about the virtuous women in today's time. Thank you if you're just joining us. This is Monday Motivation with Bukola, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Monday Motivation with Bukola. It's a show about inspiration, women empowerment, beauty, business, money, culture, entertainment, and advocacy. And today we have a great guest in the house. She's Cheranissa Roach, and she has been talking to us about how to be a successful entrepreneur, how to manage your time, how to prioritize, and how to also stay in your lane, she calls it, meaning how to distribute the jobs, the tasks, finding other people to help you with some of the tasks, and a very reasonable way to go about it. So if you are just joining us, welcome to the show. Thank you again, Cha. I was going to ask you about the virtuous women in today's world. So can you explain what you mean by that?
Yes, so the book that I authored last year was The Virtuous Wife, and it's centered, of course, on Proverbs. And my specific part of it talked about being prepared. Again, it's prioritization, because that's huge in my life. And the verse I talked about is her making garments for her family for the winter. And so she didn't do it in the winter, she did it before. And a lot of times in this life, we're always on, Bukola. There is never an off button. Our cell phones, technology, television. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when TV went off, okay? And so it doesn't anymore. And so there's constant stimulation, and there's this, and you're being pulled here and there. And so sometimes you can lose track of what's really important and what you really have to do. And so just as a modern woman, being able to pull back from that and really say, you know what is it I'm supposed to be doing as a woman, either for myself, if I'm not married and have any children, or if I am married, for my husband, for my family, or if I have children, for my children, so that we all can be, so I can be proactive in preparing for what's coming up. And so that was the thing that, for me, I'll cook 2 or 3 meals in the course of a week, because I want to make sure that everything is in place for my family. We have busy nights. My daughter's in high school, my son's in middle school. He plays a sport, she does other activities. So it's constantly on the go, but I still have to be prepared to make sure that I'm taking care of things for them. And so that's what it really is about, is making sure that as much as you can to take the burden off, the stress off, is to be prepared for things, or to prepare for things.
Wow, okay. That is so nice to talk about, being prepared in today's world. And it's true, we are always busy with our gadgets. I'm guilty of that. Having different gadgets all over the place and filling with all the time. So when we now put this in business perspective, like a woman wants to start a business, or a woman has a talent, or because sometimes some people don't even know it's a talent. They just know, oh, I like to do this.
Yeah.
And they don't know it's a talent that they have, but it's something they like to do. What would be your advice for that kind of a woman in terms of preparing to launch that talent into a business?
Well, one of the things, and outside of that, I didn't mention is I have 9 years of business consulting experience. I've helped close to 400 people launch a small business. So I know a little bit about this topic. One of the things that I always tell people is research. Again, you may have more time than money. And so going to your library, being on the internet, say you want to start a beauty supply business and you're just like, well, I want to start a beauty supply business. Do you know how much it costs? Do you know if the area is zoned for it? Do you know what the market is and if there's enough customers that will actually be in your store? Do you know what you need? Do you know how many customers you need to come in there a day? And do you know how many sales you need them to buy in order to reach your goal? So making sure you understand fully what is required, what you need, what the ins and outs of the business before you start anything else is where I always tell people to start. You can write a business plan or you can get a template. That's the easy part. But the part that you need to know is, I'm good at helping people pick hair care products, so I'm going to open a beauty supply. You got to know that business and know that it's something that not only it can be profitable and there's a need and my customers are there, but you got to know if that's something that you can hold on to, if it's not a passing phase. There are a lot of things I've done, Bukola. I've actually been a corrections officer in a men's prison. Won't do that again, but I know what I'm good doing. And that's what I do. That's the lane I stay in. So I love cupcakes and I bake pretty good cupcakes, but I'm not opening a bakery. You have to know what fits you. And a part of that happens when you do the business research and do the business planning. It isn't all fun and games. It isn't all wonderful. And you need to know that going in. I want to launch this business. Just educate yourself on what you need to do.
Wow. Thanks. And it's true. But I have a question about business plan, because I've heard some people say you don't really need a business plan. And some say you do need a business plan. So what would be your suggestion for a brand new person who is in business or who wants to start a business?
Write a plan. And the reason I say write a plan is just like our goals, we tend to accomplish more of them when we write it down. Another thing is when you're launching a small business and it's just you have everything that you have to remember. The accountant, the attorney, the distributors, the customers, the marketing, the suppliers. You have everything you have to remember. Having it written down helps you. And also, if you were to get somebody else that wants to partner with you or somebody else that just wants to invest with you, how do they know what they're getting into if it's in your head? I cannot take your brain out and read it. So, and the other thing is, if you need funding, you're gonna have to have one. Now, yeah, there are people that fly loosey-goosey by the seat of their pants and they don't have a business plan. And if it works for them, fine. But I feel like when you're brand new, you need to have that document, have that written down so that you know what you're doing, what you're getting into. And if you forget, if you get sidetracked, you got something you can go back to. We know our brains are full all day long. So having to take that out of your space in your head clears up space for something else, but it also gives you something that you can go back to.
Wow, thanks. I really like the idea of writing the business plan down, and if you get sidetracked, you can go back to it. But in the process of writing a business plan down, would you say that the business person should follow a specific template or just write things down as they feel?
Well, I think you are going to have to, you don't have to have a particular template, but there are particular areas that you have to cover. You have to understand the business operations. You have to understand staffing within the business operations, how you're going to run it. You need your mission and vision. You need products and services. What are you going to sell? How much are you going to sell it at? How much, where you're going to get it? And you have to have the sales and marketing. So having those in whatever order you want is completely up to you, but it does help you see, sometimes it's easier if you can write things down and see them versus continuing in your head, if that works for you. Now, I'm not saying this works for everybody, but a number of people that I've worked with, and in my personal opinion, it does help to have it written down. And so people use templates all the time. And if that's okay with you, that's fine. but having the information so that the main points are covered is essential. And the other thing I wanted to say is the business plan doesn't have to be 50 pages. A good solid business plan when you're launching can be 8 to 15 pages.
That is good to know. Perhaps that will help somebody not to feel overwhelmed.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, thanks.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
So you take the fear out.
We need to take a short break now, and we will be right back. Again, if you are just joining us for the first time, this is Monday Motivation with Bukola. It's a show about inspiration, women empowerment, beauty, business, money, culture, entertainment, and advocacy. And we have a great guest in the house. Her name is Cheranissa Roach, and she's a business consultant. She's a best-selling author. She does workshops from corporate organizations to non-profits. And she's giving us some good nuggets today about starting a business. If you want to start your own business, how to start successfully, and how to not only start but stay in business successfully by making sure that some of the tasks you are delegating to other people to help you with. So if you are just joining us, I will encourage you to go and watch it from the beginning so you can learn some of those great tips that she has been sharing with us. So now you say that you co-authored other books. There is one on emotional wellness for women. What does that book talk about for women? Because, you know, women's health is really important, and we need to take care of ourselves as women. There are certain things women need to do at a certain age. So can you tell us a little bit more about emotional wellness for women, please?
Absolutely, and thank you for that. The thing is, you're right. We do a lot as women, and we need to take really good care of ourselves. Now, we may go get a massage once a month. We may even go to the chiropractor, but looking at the inside is something that we don't always do. And so whether it's the fear of failure or fear in general, whether it's self-doubt or low self-esteem or low self-confidence, we have stuff, whether it's shame or guilt or anger or insecurity or inferiority, whatever it might be, we have something that we keep inside. And so emotional wellness for women was about getting free. It was about getting well emotionally. It was about healing the inner parts of you that nobody sees but you and God, and nobody knows but you two, that it's a struggle. And so my chapter was on self-forgiveness. I had to go through a period where I held myself in a prison where I held the key, but because I was so brutal with myself, I never let me out. And so I had to forgive myself for making the decision to hold me hostage and to not let me off or something I did, a one-time incident. So learning to love yourself better, learning to forgive yourself, and know that the same way you talk to your best friend when he or she messes up is the same way you need to speak to yourself so that you can start or continue on your journey to emotional wellness.
Wow. Okay. Holding the key and being locked in the prison. How can someone get themselves out of that prison? What are the steps to take? You know, what are the actionable things to do to free yourself from that prison of holding yourself up and feeling guilty and blaming yourself for something?
First of all, the thing is, realize that you're stuck. Realize that you're having an issue. And you don't have to tell anybody this, but you need to recognize it and you need to accept it. We don't move forward because of denial. You know, I'm stuck in this, or I'm stuck. No, I'm not stuck in this. I'm not stuck in it. No, you stuck. You've been stuck. Stop it. That is how I'm a tough love kind of coach, Bukola. I'm good at it. I'm tough but tender, but I don't allow my folks to to come to me and give me excuses, but it's because you come to me to change. And if I coddle you, you don't change. And that's not what you're paying me for. So I tell people, you have to accept that you did it. You have to acknowledge it, but you have to take the action. Do the work. Let's say that shame is a big thing for you. And I'll use my own life because I'm really transparent when I coach and do seminars. I suffered with shame for some things that I did when I was in my 20s, Bukola. I'm 45. I was holding myself prisoner from stuff 25 years ago. Nobody else was holding me a hostage. Jesus had forgiven me, but I hadn't forgiven myself. And so shame was clouding my life. I didn't necessarily know it, but I did my work. I knew something wasn't right. And that's the thing is, when you get to be an adult, you can say, I don't know, but deep down inside, you know something ain't right. I'm not happy. I'm not sleeping. I'm gaining weight. I'm eating. I'm not this. I'm not that. And so you have to be honest and say, you know what? Something's got to be going on. And you start to say, am I happy here? Am I happy here? A coaching tool I have is called the coaching wheel of life. And it's really a big old wheel. And it has, I think, 7 different sections. And each section, marks a piece of your life. So it's physical, mental, financial, relationships, spiritual, fun. And I can't remember the other ones. And it just asks you to rate where you are on that wheel. And so sometimes people will say, I'm a 3 with financial, but I'm a 7 with spiritual. And it's from 0 to 10. And so you get to see honestly within yourself, where am I with my emotional life? Where am I in my marriage or in my intimate relationship? Where am I with my relationship with God or Buddha or whomever else it is that's the higher deity in your life? And so once you start to come clean about where I am, then you can start to say, okay, so these headaches I've been having, I got a 4 on my vocation. You know, I really don't like all the things I do in my job. It forces you, if you let it, it can force you to say, you know what, I'm really not happy at this place. Or I really don't like all the things that I'm supposed to do. Or I don't like that it's an hour or 2 commute. And you can start to say, okay, well, what else can I do? And it'll help you begin to see, I'm not stuck. I don't have to live in shame or fear or guilt or low self-esteem. And I can start to move forward because this is where I am, but this is where I want to be. And really, that's what coaching is. It's helping people get from A to B.
Wow, thank you so much. You've given us so much value, and our time is rounding up here. So what will be your last word for the audience?
Well, if I could tell them anything, I tell them, number 1, don't give up. And number 2, sometimes in life, you think things are going to go a certain way and they don't. And you get discouraged and you stop. But it is often at that time that you just need to see, what is it I can learn from this? And how is it that I can still move forward? You may have been in accounting for 10 years and get laid off. Well, numbers were okay, but you really had something else. Sometimes an ending is really disguised as a beginning. And that's what I want to say. So even if it doesn't feel like it or look like it, try to picture something positive coming from it. And maybe, just maybe, this is the thing you had prayed, believed, asked the universe for, God for, to start you to move forward.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. So as a coach helping with seminars and workshops, how can the people get a hold of you?
Yes, so my website is www.mycoachchar.com. So they can go on there, they can leave me a message. I have a blog that's updated on there. I have my books on there. They can contact me from there. Again, it's www.mycoachchar.com. I am also on Twitter and Instagram, again, under My Coach Char. They can find me at either one of those. I would love to connect with them. I offer 30-minute consultations completely free. If folks need to chat with me, they can chat with me, make appointments, and do that. And I'm more than happy to help them. I do have a seminar coming up next Saturday. It's in Toledo. It's a Get Your Life, and life is love, interest, favor, and excitement back. I'm one of the speakers, and we're going to be speaking to help you launch into 2017 in a bold new way, claiming your love, claiming your interest, your favor, and excitement back. And I would love to see you all there.
Okay, thank you so much, Char. It's nice to have you on the show. I hope that you will be back. Thanks so much.
I will. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.